of the United States as a truly enlightened, not what the Illuminati have tried to hijack, but as a truly enlightened society has been hijacked by a breakaway society based on secrecy and compartmentalization. And it's the secrecy and the compartmentalization that allows them to function and to carry that out. And as soon as that secrecy and compartmentalization is broken, with the whistleblowers coming forward, and that's why it's so important to reach out and to bring these whistleblowers to public light, because they are the mechanism. They are the ones that are attuned to these consciousness waves that are coming out from the singularity at the center of the universe. You know, we all think that we have our own thoughts, and we are, you know, everything comes from our own thoughts. No, we are like little radio transceivers, you know, and it's this huge consciousness waves that permeate the entire universe that come from the source, that, you know, we are like little droplets of light. Someone said an egg of light from the sea of light. That you know, so it's these whistleblowers that are tuning into these consciousness waves that are coming public. So we need to embrace them, and they're, you know, the whistleblowers are used to getting shredded, right? Because they have so many counterattacks and the public is skeptical. So that's a really important function.
Oh, I agree 100%. You know, it seems like these you know, they boil it down to, I think, 450 people or something are taking us down the toilet, you know.
Yeah.
You know, if you add up all the people that are supposed to be taking care of us, you know, they're making the decisions that are, you know, and I'm seeing over and over this whole thing with the Obama administration and the Gulf Oil and BP and everything, just how they've just run over all of our constitutional rights, you know, the right to privacy, the right to free speech, you know, every right they've just run over, and they've completely taken over the shores. You know, here's a foreign country, a foreign corporation that has taken over not only the shores of this huge mess, but they've also seemed to have taken over our own government as well, because, you know, the Senate was, in their voting, I guess the congressmen kept blocking any possibility of doing subpoena power and researching into why this happened, who's responsible for it, and everything else. They stood up and blocked every movement to get to the bottom of this, and that was just amazing. To me, that just showed very clearly that we don't have a government right now. We don't. It's a corporate, you know, dictatorial democracy, and they are calling the shots. It's you know, and if people haven't seen that yet or haven't figured that one out, you know, with James Fox going down there and saying, look, you know, it's a $40,000 fine now. I guess if you're caught down there with a camera or talking to the press, they can arrest you. It's I think it was a Class D felony. You know, that just went over the edge there. You know, if you know, people can't figure that one out, then there's something seriously wrong with this, you know, country.
Yeah. What we did, James, and that may fit into a series of articles that we published last week that we called The Positive Timeline and the Catastrophic Timeline. Mm-hmm. And it may relate to the fact that the U.S. government, and in fact major governments around the world, the military and the police and even the National Guard are on a secret 2012 to 13, quote, catastrophic timeline. Mm-hmm. And this came to to light in a couple of ways. There have been, and it's as though the planners of the national security state have gone into the future and have seen it as a catastrophic future and have planned for an entire worldwide underground shelters in which only the political and financial elite, the entire military, the police, and the National Guard will survive underground, and the rest of the above-ground society is left to fend for themselves. And that is a program to which they have committed, many, many billions, if not trillions of dollars, including secret Mars bases. But it looks as though what has happened is that the timelines have shifted, and we're not on a catastrophic timeline, but we're on a positive timeline. And the way that we came across this is that we came across two different studies that had independently been done that tended to prove a catastrophic timeline. One was a probe. This was done by DARPA in 1971 in Project Pegasus, and one of the whistleblowers that I work with, that, as you know, he and I were able to present some of the secret material of life on Mars at the ESETI conference last year. And he, as a young child, did a chronovisor probe of the U.S. Supreme Court in the year 2013 and found it to be under 100 feet of stagnant water. And he reported that back to the U.S. Naval Intelligence officer, which was debriefing him. So as of 1971, the DARPA, the U.S. Department of Defense, had gone forward in time travel and had seen the U.S. Supreme Court in Washington, D.C. under 100 feet of water. And the head of that program was none other than Donald Rumsfeld, who was a cabinet member of Richard Nixon.
That's scary. If there ever was an Antichrist, I think between him and Kissinger, they're it.
Yeah. So these are the guys who had the power to build the underground shelters. And then, if that wasn't enough, just recently, the Farsight Institute, using military remote viewers, did a study of climate change between 2008 and 2013, and in 2013, expecting just to say, oh well, we lost a few inches of beach property, 39% of the most viewers found a cataclysmic timeline in 2013, which were, quote, and I'm just reading here from the article, destructive solar flares, large meteors leading to tsunamis, volcanism, flooding of coastal cities, refugees from the coastal areas, U.S. government, military, and political elites have gone underground, breakdown of energy, no electricity, breakdown of food supply, breakdown of transportation, no cars, no buses, trucks, planes, or trains, loss of buildings or coastal areas. In other words, that's the classic Hollywood, mega 2012 catastrophe, right? Now, if you look at some of the anomalies, number one, you'll find that the U.S. is ending all human space flights in February of 2011, which means that they may be afraid of solar flares or some other incoming, such as Nibiru in 2011-2012. Number two, the U.S. national debt is unpayable, indicating an expectation that existing 2012 to 2013 world public order will be destroyed and the debt will never have to be paid back. Number three, the Svalbard, Norway seed vault contains samples of the world's seeds. Would you believe that Monsanto funded that? So it's going to be all GMO seeds. I mean, it's gross.
Yeah.
That was inspected 2 weeks ago by the UN, by top-level UN, and it's going to be sealed in the year 2011. It was started by Bill Gates, Rockefeller Foundation, Monsanto, and Syngenta, and other GMO organizations, okay? 4, Norway has built an underground shelter for half its population. In other words, about 2.5 million people, all the technocrats. And because the U.S. paid for it, it will also house 2.5 million U.S. political and financial elites.
Jeez.
And there's a letter from a Norwegian politician that was leaked to Project Camelot that says that they're doing this because Planet X is coming, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Another anomaly. China is now building 200 miles per year of tunnels under its major cities to be completed by 2011. That may reflect the decision by the Chinese government to save the bulk of its population from the effects of a cataclysmic timeline. Another thing, there's active major tunneling under the Dugway, Dulce, and other what they call deep underground military bases in the southwest of the U.S. And what's more is that Google Earth and MarsAnomalyResearch.com discovered this, is that Google Earth is putting in phony pictures of these bases, so you can't discover the active tunneling, but some people went up there before and captured what's really going on. And the tunneling continues under the Denver International Airport. And finally, there's an Internet kill switch approval for the U.S. president has been passed by a congressional committee. That means that after the U.S. government goes underground, they kill the Internet so the surface population can't self-organize and form its own citizen-based government, you know? And then finally, they have a martial law matrix in the event of a national emergency, which collapses the constitutional government. There is no more Supreme Court. There's no more Congress.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a thing. So now, but the thing is that assumes all of that investment and that whole dark plan assumes that we're headed toward a cataclysmic future, and even that remote viewing study, 29% of the remote viewers did not find a cataclysmic future. So maybe there's alternative futures. And Andy Bishago, who saw the 2013, said there's no reason to believe that the 2013 cataclysmic future is going to occur. And then if you go to the other side, there are so many signs that positive things are happening in terms of the crystal kids coming in, that this whole 3 waves of indigos are coming in that are equipped with expanded DNA, expanded processing. All of this is not to deal with a destroyed Earth. All of this is to help in pushing forward in an accelerated way the positive timeline. We went and did a study of the Planet X Nibiru brown dwarf mean, and there's no science to it. It's all disinformation. Even the whole thing about NASA having a telescope at the South Pole, which it does, that telescope is not for the purpose of seeing incoming objects, and any telescope in the southern hemisphere would have seen a brown dwarf by now. So all of this is a meme that has been propagated for centuries by the Illuminati, because if we go back to